Some exciting news is coming. New crib, new dresser. Think we all can figure out what's going to happen next. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Alright, so I got a couple things I want to mention here. This is kind of a follow-up, kind of what's going on with me in the car situation. Alright, so we obviously had a C63 and it is still here, but I think it's going to maybe be here maybe one more week. I did get a good price for the car, so the car is probably going to be gone by the end of the week. By the time you watch this video, the car's going to be gone, unfortunately. I might have to do a little outro, maybe a follow-up with Lexi to kind of get her final thoughts on the car, since she's the one that's probably driving it. And meantime, my primary attention is going to be, I know I keep saying it over and over, but now, since I know that it's got a date, I'm going to be doing all kinds of videos on this car. Now, I got some more going on. You might have watched a few. I was able to run this versus the X5. And so I'll see, you should probably have seen these videos coming down the pipeline here in a little bit. Now, for a while, I was trying to maintain 3 videos a week. It just became too much for me. And it's hard when I have, the family, I have things going on, and I start feeling burnout. So I sort of took a step back, scaled back, started just doing 1 video a week. Try every Sunday. I can't say it at certain times because sometimes YouTube has certain checks that it runs, and sometimes it's really fast, sometimes really slow. Unless I upload the day before. Maybe I'll try upload them the day before, but Sundays you can expect another video from me. I'll be trying to get on a more consistent schedule. So I got my report from Blackstone Labs. Now, I don't know if you saw the video where I sent off my oil analysis for my X5M when I ran AMSOIL, is what I put in there. So I got the read back on that one, and also just feedback on what's going on with the motor. So just quote unquote what they said. They said, Edward, the car looks good. Rare metals are in great shape. It's averages for 4,800 miles for the oil. Flashpoint shows a trace of fuel dilution, and it might help in the oil, but they said the internal parts were good. So safe to say I don't have to worry about any rod bearing issues with this motor. Like, there's no sign of it now, or now at least, and I'm pretty confident 100,000 miles I'm not going to show any signs of rod bearing. I'm going to do another oil analysis with this next oil change with the FE oil, and we'll go from there. So let's talk about the X3. If you don't know, we put a name on the list to order an X3 M40i at our local dealer, BMW Concord. And we're just so far down on the list. I just felt like we needed to move on to something else. Sales advisor was great, nothing wrong with that. I felt like at a certain point, like, okay, I need to start moving or looking at some floors motor options. And I explained that to our client advisor, and he understood. He's like, because it's out of his control, and obviously he doesn't know what the factory is going to do and what they're going to spit out at any moment. So I started looking at BMW X3 M40s. I started searching on Car Gurus and Cars.com and looking for brand new ones, and I was running the VIN number through the third-party app MDecoder. MDecoder, if you haven't used it, I talked about it before, it's third-party app, and you can put your VIN number in, and it'll give you a breakdown. It'll give you pretty much the whole build on the car. It's helpful when you're finding a BMW and you don't know what options does it really have, especially if you don't have the original window sticker, or in my case, this car was no picture attached to the ad. It was just saying, hey, incoming BMW on the way, X3 M40. That's it. And then it just has a slew of basic options. So I ran the VIN on one that was in Arizona. It was pretty close to what we had wanted. I think the wheels choice, we had wanted the 21-inch wheels, and it didn't have the same 21-inch wheels, but it did have the upgraded wheels. But main thing she wanted was ventilated seat. So we found one. I called the dealer. spoke to the online sales guy at Arizona, Scottsdale, whatever, somewhere Scottsdale, BMW in Arizona, whatever. And I talked to him, and they explained that the car was there. There was a customer's order. The customer order somehow backed out of it, didn't take delivery of the car. Now the car is up for sale. I'm like, perfect. And he's like, are you local? I said, no. He's like, well, we only do business with the local. We're not dealing with this. We're not, for this car being so hot the way it is, we're not going to even mess with an out-of-state buyer. So I understood his point, because it takes time. The car is going to sit there for probably about a week and a half when you do an out-of-state purchase, because they have to mail paperwork to me. Then I mail paperwork back. Then things got to go to the bank, get approved. Then they got to get funded. Then by the time that happens, especially with business days and things closing, and the transaction as far as overnight paperwork, even overnighting, takes a minute. You just count on a week. And if you start Monday, you might count on like Thursday or Friday before they tell you they can release the car, but then you got to arrange for shipping, and then it's just. So anyway, I totally understand, and I do appreciate them being honest with me up front. That's the only thing I really want, being up front with me. And they said, so I told them, I said, look, I got a few days off coming up. If the car's still available, I'll buy a plane ticket. I'll see my plane ticket, and I'll be right there to pick up the car, as long as you hold it for me with obviously proof of a plane ticket. So he agreed. He said, yeah, we do that, as long as, but obviously they're not gonna hold the car for me. So the car sold within 3 days, which I wasn't surprised. I didn't even get my hopes up or chase it, because it didn't have everything we wanted in it. So fast forward, found another one very similar, another X3 M40. This was in Georgia. Talked to them. It was they said that it was available, but I'm looking at shipping, and I said, well, main thing is I was looking for trying to order one. So, oh no, we have allocations. Oh, you have an allocation? Yeah. I was like, well, check for me then. Call me back. And they're calling back, unfortunately. So I'd like, you don't have an allocation. Somebody else messaged me on social media, said that they had an allocation. And when I had them check, there was an allocation. Never got back to me. Found another X3 M40 in Sacramento. It was at the Elk Grove, the location, Niello, BMW. So I called him, actually emailed him first, and the VIN number is attached. And I'm going here, I'm gonna tell you the story. The VIN number is attached to the email, and it was the only car there that was listed at the Elk Grove, Niello. There was no picture of it, but like I said, I scanned everything. It was Alpine white, had the black Vernesca leather, had the ventilated seats, Harman Kardon sound system. That's just something that's our main key options that we want. The wheels and stuff can be changed, but some of the hardware, things like that, we can't. So they're like, yeah, we have it. So I went ahead and they emailed me back, and I said, okay. And I said, he's like, well, I got to get the car. Now, mind you, this was the email transaction. And then finally, a different person that was not on the email list called me. So I'm assuming they must have a person emailing, and then someone else actually in sales that actually reaches out to you. So the person in sales reaches out to me, and nice guy. He's like, yeah, I just had to go pick it up at a different location. But I was like, well, as long as the car's there, I said, I'll give you a couple hours, whatever. So I said, we're gonna start heading up there, because we have about an hour and a half drive, because traffic was pretty bad that day. So I told Lexi, and Lexi's like, hey, I don't want to get up there and it's the wrong car. I said, babe, trust me, I checked. I ran the VIN number, I checked everything. This car has everything, and I said, if it has everything we want, we can leave this car tonight. So we hop in the car, we drive the X5 up there. Sit in traffic obviously for a long time, but we get there and the car is there. The salesperson that we were talking to, he was still on his way back. So I'm like, all right, great. So we looked around the showroom, looked at a few cars, and here comes the X3. And as it's pulling up, I'm starting to get confused, because it has cognac interior. I'm pretty sure it's black. Pretty sure it was black. So Lexi's looking at me like, I thought she had a black interior. I said, I thought I'm pretty sure but when you look at cars, you get so many cars mixed up. Everything starts running together. Cause I was looking at like cars all day, looking at VIN numbers. So I thought perhaps I made a big mistake. Now I'm sitting here like my heart's pounding, cause I'm like, I brought my wife up here, and now she's looking at me like, what am I doing out here if it's the wrong car? Like, why'd you bring me here? So I'm thinking like, okay, all right, think fast. Maybe the car is just different color interior, but it's got every other option. She may be all right for it. So anyway, she's talking to the sales guy, and I walked around the car, looked at it. It does have ventilated seats, and then it's missing the other option, Harman Kardon. I'm like, great. This is not the same car, and plus it didn't have nowhere near the close to wheels that we wanted. I mean, it was just, this car is way off. I mean, if I'd known this car was like this, I would have never called on it. So I'm sitting here like, what do I say? So I'm like, well, how did this happen? First of all, how did this happen? So I looked at the VIN number that I checked. I compared with that actual car's VIN number, and guess what? It's a totally different car. So I asked the sales guy, I said, hey, this is your only X3 M40 you have? He said, yeah, this is the only one we have. So I said, well, this is a different VIN number. So he had to double check. He runs inside, double checks, finds out that that X3 M40 that I called about and emailed about was a sold customer's car. Okay, you're gonna think, great, the story gets better. We're like, all right, well, this is obviously not working out. He's like, well, we can order one. I'm like, we already, like we've been through this. I have already placed an order with Concord. I said, I'm just waiting. I said, I don't want to just put my name on a list for somewhere else just to be sitting there. I said, unless you have an open slot at this point, there's no reason to me like to even go forward. So we're about to leave. Manager comes out, says, hey, I guess what? I got no. That's this manager. Hey, guess what? I got one. I said, you have one? You have an X3? He said, yeah, I got one. Are you ready to buy? I said, yeah. I mean, if it's got everything we want. So I'm looking at reading the build sheet over, and I'm like, something's wrong. I mean, he showed me the build sheet on it, and he said, yeah, it's coming in, but I can sell it to you. So then I looked at the top of it. It's got the name on it. It has a customer's name on this car. So at this point, I'm confused. So I said, wait a minute. I said, this is the same car I called about, and I was told that it was sold. Oh yeah, I can sell it to you. And I was like, you can? And then even the client advisor that was dealing with this was like, you can? And it was probably the worst. It was probably uncomfortable because I felt like our client advisor was I mean, he didn't say it because I'm sure he has to have some loyalty to the manager, of course, and I don't expect him to break that loyalty, but I just felt like his body language, and I felt the room, because there was someone else in the room too. I don't know who the other guy was, but the room felt like you can't sell it. That's wrong to sell someone's order. And I felt like I wouldn't want to buy someone's order because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Anyway, we decided that I said, I don't feel comfortable, like obviously tell me what you have for ordering. Just tell me if you have an allocation. He said, let me check. So painfully slow, we get to the computer. He gets on the computer. He's going through, he says, yeah, but it looks like your 2023 build now, and you're not getting ventilated seats. Lexi was like, I'm done. She gets up, walks out. She's not playing. I was like, all right. I was kind of sitting there like, all right, well, thank you very much for your time, but gotta go. I mean, this is not working out, and I felt bad, So we left. All right. So we left. Obviously that's not working out. And the reason why Lexi's so frustrated, this has been our thing. And I understand that the supplies are short. Things are short. But we have been dealing with this since January. Maybe December we looked at the car. We said we'd probably start rolling on something, and we decided to start the order process earlier with Audi with the SQ5. Now that didn't work out. Didn't work out for a couple reasons. One was we never got follow up with the Audi Concord, and then the second part was we tried the yellow Audi. Everything was going up fine until we tried to place an order, and then they told us that the car wouldn't have the Audi presets. It wouldn't have the blind spot. It wouldn't have the forward collision warning. I was like, well, hold on a second. You're naming off a lot of options here that this car is not going to happen because of a supply shortage. I don't want the car. Lexington didn't want the car. So they said, well, let me check this. Let me see, because your customer ordering, instead of just a car coming in from a fleet car, or not fleet car, but a car coming in from just a regular order with no customer name attached to it, maybe they can add that option for you. So I'm like, all right, let's see if they can do it. So call me back if you can do it. Week went by, never called back. Lexi got one call back they called her back 2 days later, asking her, why can't she just take that car? Why can't she take the car without it? Why does she need those options? And she didn't like that pushy attitude, and I agree. If I dealt with that, I would definitely shut that down pretty quickly. But it's just frustrating. So at that point, she actually found the X3, and we decided to move on. Luckily, like we dealt with BMW Conqueror. Actually, BMW Conqueror is great. It's just the frustration part is they just don't have the allocation, and we've been waiting for a while. So that's where we are. That's where we are with this.